Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rogue Leadership Channel. And today we start another season of the Influencers and Innovators series here on the channel. Really excited to have you all join us. Please do subscribe down below or above. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but you'll see the button, and leave your comments, and let's engage in some great dialogue. Today, we have two very special guests joining us from the UK. Their journey to escape from war and violence as refugees to becoming top international scientists is inspirational and amazing and full of emotion. And so I'm excited to have them both here with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Detina and Argita Zalli. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you. So obviously you are identical twins, identical scientists, and thank you for dressing alike for today.
Yeah.
Who's who?
So I'm Argita and I'm 5 minutes older. And I'm Detina and I'm 5 minutes younger.
All right. Okay. Five minutes, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So as a twin, as an identical twin, I'm 20 minutes older than my brother, so I'm way ahead of him, my baby brother. One question for you before we get into the more substantive stuff,
Yes.
which is, do you all have that connection that twins have, like I have with my brother, that telepathy and that connection? Can you give the viewers like a sample of what cool things you've done in your life in that way?
Yeah, we do have that quite often. When Argita sometimes is sick, I feel it, and I'm very, very worried. And sometimes my mom is like, "Why are you so worried? You never worry for us so much." And I don't know why this happens, but it happens to me quite a lot. To me, what also happens, well, I've noticed that if there's something that we haven't thought of, for example, for years, we think of the same thing on the same day. How weird is that? So if you haven't thought about something for like 4 or 5 years, we come to think about it on the same day and we discuss it with each other, and you're like, what, you really, did you think about it today? Yeah, it's special. I mean, yourself as a twin, you can understand.
Yeah, it's an amazing power. I wish I had more of it. But thank you for sharing that. So you're originally from Albania. Tell me more about your homeland.
So Albania is a beautiful, gorgeous country in southern Eastern Europe. It shares borders with Greece, with Kosovo, Montenegro. It's known for its welcoming nature. It's a big love of our lives. Yeah, we love our country and we are very related to it, and we go and travel often there. And our family is there. Yeah. Our uncles, our aunties, our cousins, that we keep in touch all the time. So we do have a very special relationship with Albania.
I have a little bit of a special relationship with Albania because when I was in 8th grade, we had to do country reports. And for some reason, I picked Albania. The teacher was like, "You picked Albania?" And I said, "Yes, I picked Albania." Everybody else is doing France and the UK and, all that. And I said, why don't I go discover something about a country that I know very little about? So my book report was on Albania. Just so you know,
that's really awesome.
I had your back in 8th grade.
Yeah, so there are two things. We are both twins, and we both know things about Albania.
Yeah. Now there's even more synergy. I wish my brother was here. You're gonna miss him. He's gonna be here actually in 3 days. He's coming out for a visit. So darn, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
What was life like in Albania in 1997?
So Albania in 1997 was going through a very difficult situation. For people who don't know, Albania experienced a financial crisis. There was monetary Armageddon that were crushed into this naive free market economy that wiped over 60% of the country's wealth, and everything happened overnight. There was a total confusion. Tons of munitions were looted. Every man aged 12 and older was forced to carry a gun to survive. Some of our friends that we had played with, they had guns, so we could no longer play with them. So
it was a very, very dramatic and frightening situation, especially for a 10-year-old child. And there were shootings everywhere. I remember we could hear there was, and also we were always dreading that we would lose our parents and miss this house. I remember Detina asking Dad, tell me exactly what time you would be home tonight. And then Dad would say he would come home by 9. And then Detina would wait for him so impatiently, staring at the minute hand of the clock. And if my father was not home by 9, for example, then what she would do is she would sneak out of the house to look for him everywhere.
Yeah, I remember I was very, very scared while I was running to find my father at that time. Remember, it was night, there were bullets flying everywhere. But I really had to find him, because as a child, as Argita said, there's no bigger fear than losing a parent. And I was so scared that I was going to lose my father, that he was going to be killed. And every day of that year, I was living into this panic. And there were so many ambulances, and I would run after each ambulance, try to see whether something bad had happened to Dad, whether he was there. And I remember I was in the same situation with Detina, but being 5 minutes older, I don't know whether, it's because I was older that I was kind of more protective of her. I was furious at her. I was so mad at her. I kept telling her not to go out, not to run after ambulances, and not to think of not to have those negative thoughts, because that would bring bad luck. Everyone used to say that. Every neighbor used to say that in Albania. So I was like, if you think about that, that will happen to Dad. So please stop. So that meant that I had to have a perfect plan, because my twin knew me very well. She knew what I was going to do. So I had to think during all the afternoon, if Dad doesn't come home by 9 o'clock, I need to have a plan so that she doesn't run after me, and she doesn't find me. She doesn't tell Dad and Mom when I come back home. And it was very dramatic situation.
That's a lot of stress and worry on a 10-year-old, 2 10-year-olds. You're trying to take care of your sister, and you're trying to take care of your dad. I can't imagine what that would be like. I just can't. So how did you get from Albania? Tell me, and this is the tough part, tell me what happened in between the violence in Albania during the rebellion and making your way to the United Kingdom.
Yes, I mean, it was a very, very difficult journey, and we had no choice but to leave Albania. As I said, the situation was very bad. Apart from that, there was
the prostitution,
the
sex trafficking
was widespread and was illegal. Some of our friends had been taken away to Italy by human traffickers to work as prostitutes from hotels or motels. So street prostitution in Albania, near the center of Tirana, the capital, was very, very common.
And I mean, I remember everyone talking about it. We were so scared, especially because of the age of 1999. We were 13 years old. And Dad and Mom would talk to us about it. And we would hear from friends that traffickers made false promises to our friends, promises such as a marriage or employment offers to go and work elsewhere, in Germany, in Italy, in Greece. And it was very scary. We were aware of what was going on, and we felt like we were in a lockdown.
Yeah, we were in lockdown. And I remember one particular episode. I was with my friends, and there were two young people in their 20s with a very luxury red car offering us a lift to go to the city center. And I immediately, Argita and I just ran away, because we were aware that this is how they would take young girls to Italy and Greece and make them forced to work as prostitutes. And we had a lot of scary episodes where we had to escape. And thank God we did. Unfortunately, some of our friends or some of the people that we knew did not have the good luck of escaping. So they were taken to Italy, to Greece, to the countries.
And we never heard from them. I think what we heard is that once you're taken away, you can never come back again. Which is so sad.
Oh my gosh.
So sad.
Just horrific.
Yeah, so sad. It was very, very frightening.
So was there a moment a pivotal moment when you decided, your parents, we gotta go? Was there something that precipitated that decision, or was it just at some point you just felt it was just too dangerous, or was there something that moved you to become refugees?
One thing that I remember very well was when Argita and I, we were at school, we were doing our exam, one of our maths exams, and there were people with their Kalashnikov and their guns outside the school started to fire, and they entered the school, and the teacher shouting at us, go underneath the bench and under the desk. So we were under the desk crying, holding each other's hands. Argita, I remember you saying to me, don't worry, we will make it, we will be okay. And that was one of
the scary episodes. Apart from that, there have been other episodes which we have talked about in our upcoming book, Good Morning Hope, where we talk in more details about what exactly happened and what made us leave.
So how did you get to the UK? What happened next?
So it's a very difficult journey that we had to go through. So at the time, everyone, every neighbor that or every person that we knew in the city of Patos, this is where we were raised, was brainstorming about ideas of leaving Albania and going somewhere, whether it's UK, Canada, USA, Italy. They just wanted to go away. And Dad had been speaking to this group of random people, random men who were led by a doctor. These men issued mom and dad with a Schengen visa, a business visa, pretending that mom and dad were businessmen and a businesswoman. And they had to go to the UK by plane. So the idea is that they would take us with them, me and my sister, and then we would be landing in London. And of course, that was just a pretty lie, because none of them happened. I remember we left Albania at the age of 13. We left Albania on a Friday in the middle of the night in total silence to avoid anyone knowing that we were leaving. Nobody knew apart from the immediate family. Our Uncle Bertie, gave us a lift to Tirana, to the capital of Albania. And then once we arrived in Tirana, we expected to go to the airport and get the plane to go to London. But suddenly, unexpectedly, there was a change of plans.
That never happened. I was saying to Argita, Paul, earlier that many children dream of traveling by plane to go to Disneyland and meet Mickey Mouse. But as kids, we had to illegally travel to France to escape from being killed in Albania. And our dream as kids was to escape the French police at 12:39 a.m. at night in Boulogne, France.
And this was the time when the guards would change shifts. So we had about 120 seconds to run as fast as we could in the dark.
And to jump over the fence with cuts and scratches in our hands and feet, so that
we could climb into the truck that would get us to UK.
So the truck was our airplane, was our Disneyland, our dream, for it to bring us to UK.
Yes. Now, were your parents with you in the truck?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
But we did not go to the truck at the same time. So we went one by one.
Oh my gosh.
It was the moment where I was alone in the truck with other people, without my parents or without
that's a different dream that most children have. So just wow. When you finally did get to the UK, so I'm assuming that the truck got you there, correct?
Yes.
And what was it like being refugee kids, strangers in a strange land? What was the first couple of months like for you as kids, as a family?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, life was pretty hard when we were children. We didn't think we spent enough time really reflecting on what we were going through, because you don't when you're a child. And also, we didn't have anyone to talk about. We didn't have anyone to talk about what we were going through at the time. You just had to go with the flow, and that's what we did. We had no choice but to go with the flow, especially if you know that you are a refugee and that you know that you come from a disadvantaged background. You have no choice. But nowadays, viewing it from an adult's perspective, there was so many things that were going at the time. We had to start off with the language barrier. There were many cultural differences we wish we knew about beforehand, starting from the way that someone communicates with you.
Yeah, and also I have to say that we experienced severe bullying from the age of 13 to 16 mostly, and that was pretty hard. It made us feel horrible and useless, and there were times we didn't want to go to the school. We wanted to be homeschooled. Yet, no matter how we felt, we got up, we dressed up, and we showed up. And I guess one of the reasons why we were bullied was because we were so strong that we never fall victim of the peer pressure. So we did resist peer pressure. We were good, responsible, sensible kids, I would say.
Wow.
And we were mature enough to understand that our parents had sacrificed everything in their life in Albania to give us a better future. So we had to give a meaning to their sacrifices.
Yeah, and I mean, education was our passport to the future. And we knew that tomorrow belonged to the people that prepared for it today. So we focused a lot in school. We made sure that we excelled in all the subjects, English, math, French, whatever have you. And we were not the norm teenagers, right? Our role had changed as soon as we had stepped in England, which I was angry about as well, because there was a swap of identity there that happened within like a very short time frame, 24 hours. We took on a parental role as well. We had many responsibilities. We did speak English at the time. So we used to act as interpreters for our parents in every appointment they had, whether that was with the solicitors, with the doctors. We also acted as interpreters with many other Albanian refugees or Kosovan refugees.
And something that I wanted to add as well is that at the age of 13, we started to work as waitresses or cleaning the cinema at 4 a.m. in the morning. So our life was very busy. And I just want to quote one of the Henry Ford quotes that says, well, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right, because it means you can do anything or you can't do anything dependent on whether you believe it or not. So we didn't have that normal teenage attitude towards life.
So let's stop there for a second, because that's powerful that you realized that education was the path forward. My mother grew up in the slums in Chicago, very poor Ukrainian family, and worked cleaning. My grandmother was a cleaner as well, and she put herself through nursing school. And so the message always for us was that, to Henry Ford's quote, you if you think you can do it, you'll do it, and to move forward. So very powerful. You have all this on you: the bullying, the extracurricular activities, which were not normal for teenagers, which is having jobs, taking care of your parents, interpreting, whereas most teenagers are out, playing sports and hanging out and eating and chatting and doing what teenagers do. So that's powerful. So let's fast forward a bit here. Okay. So this is for you, Detina. You were one of the youngest lecturers ever at Harvard at the age of 25 years old, co-directing courses for medical doctors. So fast forward, the schooling obviously paid off, as did your mindset, and both of your resilience comes through, your power comes through. you chose to keep your power. And I think that's part of what's great about your story, is that you chose not to give your power away, but you claimed it and you owned it. So how did
Yeah.
it feel to be one of the youngest lecturers ever at Harvard?
So I think Harvard was a very great experience for me, and I had been trained by the best minds in academics in the scientific field, and had absorbed everything they had to share. But Harvard not only taught me about science, but also taught me how to negotiate, how to communicate in the scientific world, how to think on my feet, and also adapt to ever-changing circumstances. And I remember the day before I gave my interview at Harvard, and I was at Harvard Square, where I saw many students, and I wanted to go there and present myself and shake hands with them so that I could go back to the UK and tell Argita, hey, Argita, look at me. I went to Harvard Square and I met this Harvard student. You didn't do that. and I did say to Argita the day before the interview, hey, I've looked so many students and they are at Harvard and I'm here. You're not here. So I was
can I just say that competition thing, my brother and I have it as well. I mean, it's very good natured, but I'm laughing because we do similar stuff. We've done it all our lives. I mean, we're way older than both of you, but still to this day, that playful competition is always there. And, you know, I love my baby brother dearly, but he's my baby brother, right? He's my baby brother.
You see, she's my baby sister, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, you're not. So going to Harvard, so I had no idea that not only I was going to enter Harvard, but I was going to teach these students biomedical courses, and I was going to work with the best minds in the scientific field. So being at Harvard and co-directing these biomedical courses was a big joy. There was a big commitment and responsibility, which has helped me grow personally, but also professionally.
I'm so proud of her. I'm honestly very proud of her. And
this is the first time that she says that.
Oh, man.
It's not true.
Okay,
We should
all
have
right.
more interviews.
All right. I have to balance things out now. So Argita, what's been your biggest achievement today? Let's have some balance. Both of you are like amazing. So Argita, what do you consider your best achievement today? Your biggest accomplishment?
I think it's to be able to maintain a happy and healthy family, to have a family, as well as have a fulfilling career. I love what I do. I'm immunologist, but I've focused over the past years on digital learning, and I'm leading the teaching and learning aspects on the clinical years from the instructional design perspective. So having to work with the best minds, so many world-leading scientists and doctors, it's been such a fulfilling experience, and having to learn from those and sharing my experiences with others and making a positive change in the society, it's very fulfilling, and I think it's this that makes me really happy.
And I have to say that I'm very, very proud of her, and I would never have achieved anything without her support. That is true.
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. I feel the same way about my bro. So one day, hopefully we can have a Zoom chat together, the four of us, because he's pretty wild. So let's move on to another, and this deals with, I think, Detina, your time at Harvard. You've said in past interviews that President Obama was a big influence on you. On your leadership, on your career, can you kind of dive into more detail as to what resonated about him that sparked that in you?
Yes, of course. Yeah. The President of the United States, if I may call him still, has had a big influence of my career. I had the privilege of listening to many of his speeches regarding education, regarding STEM, regarding leadership. He was and is someone who continuously inspires me through his humanity, his ability to help others, his leadership. And thanks to him, influenced by him, I joined the Harvard Professional Government while I was at Harvard and chaired multiple important events such as Harvard Lectures at Last, Harvard Leadership Conference. Moreover, we co-founded We Speak Science.
It's a non-profit institution whose aim is to increase awareness of science and medicine and help immigrant students. But not only, we help all those students by engaging them in scientific workshops and inspiring them to take part on science competitions or by writing scientific articles.
Yeah. And also by doing this, we not only inspire them, but through them, we inspire also ourselves. And we have seen that in every single student, no matter background, no matter despite of their culture, there is a light inside of them that is ready to be switched on. And all you have to do is push for that switch through encouragement, dedication, and work.
Just amazing. So We Speak Science. I'll make sure that in some way, shape, or form we get all that contact information into this episode, because that you're doing wonderful things. So back to Harvard again, Argita. They featured your story, the struggle in wartime. You talked about, what you both went through. How did it feel to have Harvard shine a light on your story?
I mean, I feel so honored to have had this opportunity. Our story is the story of many other refugees who have similar experiences throughout the world, not only in Albania. Those people who have gone through such a hard time and have had the will and dedication to overcome so many obstacles to become successful professionals. And to have a voice and represent them, it's so fulfilling, and it makes me feel very proud.
Outstanding. And again, for both of you, what resonates with me is it isn't just that you went through this horrific experience. It's about what you can teach others, about what you learned through that, and how both of you have really exemplified resilience and given back. Those experiences for a lot of people destroy their lives forever, and they don't find the light, if I can use that phrasing. They remain in the pain, and the fact that both of you together and separately were able to overcome that pain and shine that light for other people and help others find that goodness within them is just it's amazing. So getting a little emotional, but I'll stop there and carry on with the interview, but just amazing. So we talked about Good Morning Hope, and again, we'll have a link and all that when it comes out, hopefully in August, and we'll talk more about that later. So let's jump forward to something that is affecting all of us globally, and that's the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And I know that both of you have been central to Eastern European media on the COVID situation, the vaccines, and kind of a central resource for that part of the world. So can you give me some more information on the work you're doing there? I do know that you've co-authored an article and done research with folks from MIT, Harvard, Oxford. I don't know any of those schools. They don't ring a bell. Seriously. So tell us more about your COVID work to date, because it's really important right now for all of us.
Yeah, we have been working with a group of scientists, some of which were from MIT, Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge. So we decided to come together and review a lot of research that is being done. A lot of papers are being published now for COVID-19. So we wanted to filter the information. So we have done quite a lot of work, and which is yet to be published, it's not yet published. And this work is going to help researchers understand better how the virus attacks the human cells and the molecular pathways that are involved in it.
We've also helped, especially the Albanian community in UK, people who are infected with COVID and who have been admitted to hospitals. that are in poor condition. We've acted as counselors as well
Okay.
for them through consultations, sharing our knowledge and reassuring people, giving that positive message and hope that we will go through this.
And I have to say that the experience that we've gone through with the Albanian community has reminded me when we first came to the UK that we started to help this community during our earlier days when we were translating for them. And so it reminded me of the experience that we had done before as well.
Wow. I mean, just wonderful. So much was taken from you, and yet you've given so much back. So that to me is the power of your story. We're going to wrap up here in a little bit, but there's a couple of more questions. So Argita, what dreams do you have today? I guess for both of you, like, what's your dream today? We know about the truck, before that the plane. So what lies ahead in terms of what you'd like to achieve?
I mean, I would like to, firstly, I would like to be a great parent. I would love to be as good as my parents were with us. I wish I could be as good. I don't know whether I will ever be. They were extraordinary parents, but I would also love to make a change in the world and inspire people who live in harsh realities. It's very difficult to inspire and motivate people, especially those who live in harsh realities, get out of that, as you mentioned, pain, of that sad zone, and really help them grow fast. And I would like to do that through my experiences, sharing knowledge, sharing our story, what we've gone through, give a meaning and give a voice to their to the students, to the people that are going through difficulties, that yes, we can. If we work hard, if we are determined, if we go in the right path, everything is possible. And basically, I would like everyone to remember that your story, your life is your message to the world, and make sure it's inspiring. And if you want to make a difference in the world, you have to be different from the world.
And I always say to my students, to complete what Argita is wanted to say, we normally do that. We complete each other. As you can see.
Okay, yep, me too.
Yeah, I always say to my students, sleep with aims and wake up with dreams.
Love it. That's perfect place. So one last question for both of you, and it's something that we do here on in this series, the Innovators and Influencers series. And the question is for each of you. So I want two answers, or you can speak absolutely in unison, and that would be fine as well. What, for both of you, having taken leadership positions, having worked with leaders all over the world, what is the one thing that is necessary? Like, what's the one core in your mind that will differentiate a good leader from a bad leader? What should our viewers take away from that?
I think, as far as it concerns myself, I think every leader should know that steps towards becoming a leader are never-ending steps. They're always evolving, always growing. So you have to be always learning, and you have to put people first. You have to listen as much as you speak, and understand that you might not have the answers to everything, and that's absolutely fine.
Yes, and also I think it's quite important to be authentic and have a unique vision that you can share with others clearly, effectively, and not to forget your beliefs and values. I think this is quite important.
Perfect. Thank you both for taking the time today. It's been a pleasure. And I think I will try. We can do an informal Zoom with my brother for a couple of minutes, because I think I think he'd get it. I think you get a kick out of it, because
that would be a pleasure. Because I'm missing my partner in crime. In that case, your brother, because he was younger than you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You are two, and I'm one here. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a good connection, but we'll take care of that later. I want to thank you both for your time, for your voices. An
much.
incredible story and journey, and it's just begun. The nice part is that unlike yours truly, you got most of that journey ahead of you. And I look forward to wonderful things, and thanks again so much for being
Thank
with us
you.
today.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. It's been a massive pleasure.
Yes, thank you
Thank
very much.
you.